Alright, hi everybody. We're going to be going over Friday's workout. Just like on Tuesday, we're going to be doing an AMRAP for 4 minutes with a 1 minute break and then hitting that same 3 exercises again for another 4 minutes. What we're going to be going over first is it's called the single leg RDL. No, sorry, cross behind lunges. And so we're going to do cross behind lunges first, and we're going to be doing 5 per side. So our cross behind lunge, we're going to start with that foot anchored into the floor. I'm going to step back and behind. It's important that I actually create that angle as opposed to just doing a reverse lunge. Step back and behind. Then I'm going to lower my knee towards the ground, get that nice tall chest forward. Then I will stand up, switch, and I'll do the other leg. So I'm going to curtsy, other side, back and forth for a total of 10 reps or that 5 per leg. All right. Now, if you want to make that harder, simple way to do that. Just grab the weight that we're going to be using also for the second exercise, the RDL, and do the cross behind lunge with the weight. If the individual needs a little bit of help or assistance in that exercise, have them grab the rack and then try to have them do reverse lunges if possible, where they're stepping back, doing a 5 on one leg, switching and doing 5 on the other. If they're still struggling with that, you may need to do the split squat where they get to stay in that stationary position. Right? So after doing 5 per side of the lunge exercise, 5 per side of the RDL exercise. So we're going to go right into the RDL. So if they use that weight for the cross behind lunge, same weight for the RDL. You're going to think, if it's in the right hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that right leg. So I'm going to keep that chest out, shoulders back. I'm going to lower that kettlebell down to the floor as I hinge in the hip on the left side. I'm going to snap that hip, get nice and tall. Most of the people are going to have to put that foot down to help regain their balance, and then go again. So you're going to think about snap, reset, push that hips back, snap and reset. Notice how I'm not letting the weight pull my shoulder forward and I get rounded. So that's going to be a common issue that you guys are going to notice. So we're going to think about keeping that tall chest, feeling that stretch in the hamstring, then switching that weight over and doing 5 on the other side. Making sure that we're always getting that good hinge with that hamstring stretch and that glute activation when they're done with that breath. When we're all done with the weight or the RDL pattern, then we can regress that even further to do the same thing with assisted. Now, we want them to keep the weight when they move to that assisted exercise. And now, remember, I'm still moving right leg, right arm. Okay, so I grab here and I'm going to make sure that that right leg, right arm move, but now I'm holding on to the rack to make sure I don't fall over. So that's only for people who really stumble when they're doing the RDL, just have them grab hold of that rack. Okay, remember, if I'm grabbing the weight with the right hand, always move the right leg. If I'm grabbing the weight with the left hand, always move that left leg. Okay, so that's the first 2 exercises. Third exercise, we're going to have a TRX set up at 5 different locations. So we're going to have 5 different spots for this. We're going to do what's called TRX speed squats. So leaning back a little bit more, try to think about keeping those feet flat on the floor, and then it's all quads from here. So we're going to sit into that squat, and we're going to knock out 15 as quick as we can. All right, remember, this isn't AMRAP, so you do want to get people through this exercise fairly quick. They will slow down a little bit on the RDLs, but they can then gain that speed again on the cross behind lunges and on the speed squats. All right, guys, the second AMRAP that we're going to be doing on Fridays is going to be that upper body one. So the first exercise that we're going to be doing is actually shoulders. What I'm going to have you guys go over first, what's called a pike pushup. A pike pushup is a lot like getting on that downward dog position. So I'm going to get my hands underneath my shoulders. I'm going to get as tight as I can. I'm going to look at my toes. So that's important. You got to make sure you're looking backwards, not down the floor. What I'm going to try to do from here is I'm going to try to turn this into basically a body press with using my body as the weight here. So you think of it as like that shoulder press when I'm using my body. And I'm going to tap the floor for me with my head so that I know I'm getting full extension and flexion through the shoulders. Now what you're going to see a common mistake here is people are going to try to turn this into a push-up, but they can't quite fold their body enough, so they end up becoming more of a push-up than an actual pike push-up. So a regression to that, if you see people who just struggle with range of motion, go into a band shoulder press. We don't want them doing a push-up per se. So have them stand in that band, rack position, strict presses, no assistance from squats or dipping, and they're going to be knocking out those reps then with the band as opposed to doing a pike push-up. And I believe those reps are for 10. Right? So we're going to be doing 10 reps of the shoulders. Then from there, we're going to move into I think we have a regression there for the shoulders. If you have a shoulder injury pattern, let's go to a band row. Make sure they're positioned over here near the wall. So you already know you have someone who's got a little bit iffy shoulders, position them over here so they can do a row instead of an overhead pressing pattern. Okay, so if you can't do the overhead, put them right over here for that band row, where they'll be anchored here onto the wall. Okay, so that's going to be the first exercise, is that pressing or potentially a row. Second exercise is going to be on the floor. So what we're going to be doing is either a dumbbell Pec Fly or a dumbbell floor press. Now the Pec Fly is a little more challenging for the individuals, so if you find someone has issues with the shoulder, that's why we kind of came with that floor press. So you're going to start with the weight on the lap, and when you lay down, it goes right into position. It's great. So you start with the weights, you don't have to worry about pulling them up with a bicep curl. Then from there, you press up. I want those feet flat on the floor, I want that back flat. Then I'm just going to give myself a little bit of bend in the elbows. I'm going to go out wide, like I'm giving someone a big, giant hug. Notice how I'm keeping those wrists in a nice neutral position, bringing them up together, pinching my pec muscles hard at the top. So as I hug and squeeze together with those reps of 10, I want to make sure that I'm pinching really hard right here at the top so those pec muscles do engage. If we're going to be doing floor presses instead, just remember that we're staying at 45 degrees. Let's not get our elbows up here by the side. We don't coach push-ups up there, so we wouldn't coach floor presses that way either. So think about elbows find the floor, up and together, pinch the chest, find the floor. Okay? So that's going to be the second exercise. The third exercise is what we call a seesaw row. So with this one, you can actually have both dumbbells in your hands again. We get into that bent over position, that nice tall chest, and I'm going to pull in with the right hand and then with the left. And I'm going to go back and forth for my total of 10 as I just think about that seesaw. One is coming up as the other is going down. And we want to make sure we're getting that low to that rib cage. You might have some people who can't get into that bent over position that we talked about on the other days. So plant them with the bench with that nice tall chest pulling into that rib cage or the base without that belly button, and then we'll do then 5 in one arm, 5 in the other. Alright, but try to get into that seesaw if you can. Alright everybody, here's the finisher for the Friday workout. It's going to be like a Tabata style. We're going to work for 20 seconds with 10 seconds of rest. Weeks 1 and 2, we're going to go for 4 rounds. Weeks 3 and 4, we're bumping it up to 5. So the first exercise requires just one dumbbell. What we're going to have them do is that crush grip curl. So we did the crush grip row, now we're going to do a crush grip curl. So we're going to turn that dumbbell into powder, elbows nice and tight to the body. I'm just going to rep that out for 20 seconds. Remember, we're not having them count, so just have them get nice and steady on those curls, really trying to crush their dumbbell as much as they can over the course of that 20 seconds. The second exercise is the much harder movement pattern. It's called the diamond push-up. So a lot of people are going to have to modify this. I'm going to show you the hardest version. We're going to back it down. So the diamond push-up for the hardest is obviously going to be on their toes, keeping that body nice and long, chest to the hands, elbows tight to the body, and then up. All right, so we're trying to really keep those elbows tight. Once we get up too wide, okay, we're not getting as much of that tricep. So try to really get that diamond as much as we can. Some people are going to be unable to do this on their toes. They want to have to go on their knees. So they're going to think about just making sure they're keeping that core tight, that we're not nose diving when we do those diamond push-ups, right? So I don't want to come here and up. We might see that from some individuals, especially our newer clients in the month of January. So you want to really focus on thinking about keeping the hips all the way through, all the way down, and then up from that exercise. And we do have one extra modification for that, and that's a close grip incline push-up. So we don't have any bars set up right now, but it would be a bar push-up with their hands as narrow as they can possibly get away with when they're doing that incline push-up. As close as they can get. The main thing you're trying to make there is kind of get TRX position. You want to think about those elbows kind of brushing the body as we're completing that push-up.